Okay, now we're going to talk about angels. Now, angels are one of my favorite topics. Angels are with the animals, or how my spiritual journey started. And the author of this book is Tricia McCannon, who is a beloved colleague and personal friend. And I reached out to Tricia personally to say, I really want to book on angels and common sentience, and I really want you to do it. So Trisha's book is called Angels: Personal Encounters with Divine Beings of Light, and you're in for a treat. Let me tell you a little bit about Trisha. Trisha is the author of Angels. She's an American mystic, mysteries expert, a popular instructor at Sacred U. She has 7 or 8 courses with us, which are all best-selling. And she's the best-selling author of 4 books, including 2 more on angels: The Angelic Origins of the Soul, Discovering Your Divine Purpose, and her book, Dialogues with the Angels. So, Trisha, I'm so happy you're here with us today.
Ariel, thank you so much for having me. It's wonderful to be included in the Common Sentience series of amazing books and to be one of your speakers or teachers today.
I couldn't be more delighted. So, another reason that I asked you to be the author of Angels is because of your personal, not only your spiritual experience or mystical from a research perspective, because you're a phenomenal researcher, but from your personal experience with angels. So, why don't we start with that? I'm going to say, tell everyone who the angels are, and then give us a little bit of your background with the angels.
Well, first, of course, angels are beings of light, and they've been spoken about in every religion and culture of the world. And sometimes they appear as humans, sometimes they appear as great winged figures. And as we know, they are really beings of light who have come to uplift humanity. And there are many different kinds. There are messenger angels, there are healing angels, there are angels of wisdom, angels of grace, angels of transition, angels of love, angels that escort the soul through the dark tunnel and meet them on the other side when people pass over, angels that oversee sacred sites and ley lines in the land. There's a lot of variety up there, as you can imagine. And of course, the famous warrior angels like Michael's angels and Raphael's healing angels. Um, since I was a child, I grew up across from a great forest. I spent a lot of time in that forest, and of course, my brain waves went from the chatty little beta brain we all have into deep levels of alpha and theta. And from that place, you can begin to perceive pulling back the veils to the other worlds. And so, an angel appeared to me. First, it was like little divas in the forest, and as I talk about in my book, Dialogues with the Angels, I think humans usually can't see them. And so they told the forest angel, the overlighting angel of that sacred forest, to come and begin to speak to me. And he came and began to teach me about the great chain of being and how the light and sound and love of God are stepped down to create all these different dimensions through the power of vibration to eventually form the physical world where we are now. And of course, that made perfect sense to me. I mean, of course, that there's a spiritual world and that the physical world is an expression or a downline or subset, if you will, of these higher dimensions. And of course, as you know, I'm a clairvoyant. I've read for over 6,000 people around the world. And whenever I do a reading, I always see people's spirit guides. And nobody is ever sent into this world alone. I mean, it's a tough thing. It's like the PhD program to come down to earth. And so they don't send us alone, even though many times we feel alone. We all have at least one angelic guide. We may have other kinds of guides as well, uh, uh, ancestors, totem animals. There are many different things. And you cover a lot of these in the amazing Common Sentience series, as I'm sure you know. But we also will have angels that sometimes will sign up when we get to a particular part of our life. Let's say you're just a normal housewife and you begin to wake up when you're 36 or 37, you become interested in healing, and this gift awakens within you. There are angels that will know your life plan, and they will have agreed that if you, of your own free will, choose to go down that path, they will then step forward to become guides, whether it's awakening to sacred geometry, awakening to teaching, awakening to music or poetry, or healing, or opening up your writing skills. There's many ways in which we can serve spirit, and there are many wonderful people out there who can be, let us say, channels or agents or chalices of that divine nectar of God, if we let ourselves and we move our own personal kind of egoic issues, we heal them or we move them out of the way enough that we can truly listen to spirit and allow that blossoming in our own lives. So I've gotten a chance to meet thousands of angels, and they're all different kinds. And usually the ones that hang out around us humans are in the ninth order. I talk about the nine orders of the angels in the books. They're in the guardian angel department. And of course, there's a lot of variety in that. But sometimes I will see archangelic beings. It's rare because archangels usually have other jobs to do. But if the soul has had alignments with archangelics, or they're working at a bigger scale, let's say as you are with the Common Sentient series. Now, that's the kind of thing that can awaken, affect, and heal tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people across the world that become aware of the wisdom that you have your authors share in this incredible series and in the courses that you do on the Sacred You website. So, in that case, many times there'll be archangelic energies that will come in to oversee these larger projects that can truly help to move human consciousness forward on the earth. And of course, the more people awaken, the more people understand that these things that we think of as extraordinary are actually part of the physical and spiritual dimensions, whether it's a love of nature, it's paying attention to the voice of spirit, it's learning about shamanism, it's learning about the god or the goddess, or the fairies or the angelic beings. All of this is part of the multidimensional world in which we live. And, you know, the more we can become aware of and honor and respect our connection with that world, the more we begin to open up our own spiritual gifts. We open our hearts and our spirits, the more we help to heal the earth and create societies that are more balanced than some of the societies we've been creating over the last 2,000 years.
Trisha, I think it's so important that you've really expanded who the angels are or why the angels are here. You know, many people think of, well, we have guardian angels, and that's all they think about. Or they might have heard of the archangels through religious context, and some may have heard of the nine orders, and they may understand that there's a hierarchy of angels. But in your book, you talk about angels among us, and you do go into details around the different types of angels or jobs angels have, if we want to, you know, put it that way. And you mentioned a couple of them. So I'm going to go through them. I'm going to ask you to go into a little more detail so people have a little bit greater understanding when we say, well, there's healing angels. What does that mean? There's angels of healing that are here to support us.
Well, first off, you should understand that at the higher levels, who we are, immortal beings dressed up in the bodies of mortals, and who the angels are, all of us are beings of light. And that if you're able to tune in with those inner senses, angels, whenever they appear, I hear music. And they're different sounds. This one's chimes, this one's the strings of a like moved across a guitar, or the keys of a piano, or the sound of a flute. They are vibrational beings that first, you know, the three highest principles are love first, sound second, and light third. In the beginning was the word. That's the vibrational sound that goes throughout the universe. And so, of course, they're emanations of that. Now we're emanations, but we're kind of dumbed down. I hate to put it like that. Uh, you know, in our essence, we're of course these same divine beings of light, but we've forgotten who we are. You know, we have a physical body, an emotional body, a mental body, a causal body, an astral body. All those bodies are create a level of usefulness down here, but a level of density through which it's more difficult for us to sometimes remember our own divine essence. The angels are aware of their connection with source constantly. They can manifest a physical body if they need to for a task, but they don't have the same conflicted mental body that's very dualistic that we do. You know, we're always arguing, is it fatter or skinnier, taller or shorter, richer or poorer? They don't have that. They are connected in with a direct knowing, and they're operating out of the soul body, and the soul body can move in 360 degrees in all dimensional levels and realities instantaneously. And we don't. We, you know, astral travel at night in our astral body, which is limited to the physical world. Sometimes we soul travel, okay? And I actually head up a meditation, a global meditation group called The Way of Truth, and you can look it up, thewayoftruth.com, that teaches soul travel, which is the ability we all have to shift into these higher states and to leave our body and to begin to have our own direct experiences with masters, with angels, with higher dimensional teachers. And of course, there's some wonderful teachers here on this planet as well. And you know, you never take credit, but you happen to be one of them. And you gathered a whole group of other wonderful teachers for this incredible series.
So the angels are healing. Are they, do they specifically help heal our physical, mental, spiritual bodies? Like what, tell us a little bit more about, and
Okay, so
can we call on them? Can we
absolutely.
interact with them?
Angels work through invitation. They never want to intrude on your life. They always want to allow us to have free will. So it really helps if we consciously establish a relationship by inviting them in. And I always tell people, you know, to go into your heart, connect your heart with your third eye, and shoot a beam of light up. And you can think of it as anchoring in the Christ consciousness or the great central sun, or however you want to imagine the light, and pull a column of light down around you and say in 360 directions and all dimensional levels, you know, I surround myself in this light and I call in my angelic spirit guides. I call in these angels to work with me. And the highest vibrational frequency I can work with at this time. Now, just like when we're in school, you know, the teacher you have in first grade is different from the one you have in eighth grade. And so, as you move through your own spiritual evolution, you may meet other teachers along the way. But you know, you always have one or two primary guides that oversee you. And angels show up when I talk about beings of light in different colors. The healing angels, whenever I see them, they're always in green or green and pale yellow. Now, sometimes it's forest green, sometimes it's light green, sometimes it's like spring green. I've never seen chartreuse. They're a little more subtle than that. Okay. The wisdom angels are they're almost always blue or blues and blacks. Sometimes, uh, believe it or not, I mean, black is not a bad color. It's the essence of all the colors in one realm, you know. And you could also say it's the essence of the ocean of love and mercy that is the plenum from which everything arises before there was time and space. So black is not a bad color, and white, of course, is also a wonderful color. But and messenger angels, a lot of times, like angels of love, many times the vibration is all rose. It's that divine mother energy. Roses, apricots, pinks, you know, that whole beautiful range. Um, messenger angels, a lot of time it'll be yellows and blues, and it's not, you know, Donald Duck yellow. it's, it's soft. It's all very pastel energies, although some of the energies are deep. They're deep colors, but they're healing. They're very healing. So you have light, you have sound, and of course they can manifest a body. And you know, in this book, I wrote many chapters, as you know, and plus there's some 30 stories in the middle of the book from people who have had their own encounters. And there's some wonderful writers in this book. I mean, I got to write the first, what, 4 or 5 chapters and the last 4 or 5, but there's some 30 chapters in here of direct stories of people who had angels come when they least expected them and it changed their life. And so when you ask about healing, there are a lot of levels of healing. Miraculous things can happen with physical healing, but also the healing of relationships, the healing of family, the healing of children, spiritual healing and emotional healing within the heart. So I love some of the stories in here, and you know, they're just one after the other about like suddenly a beings appearing and helping to push a car up a hill, which is pretty hard to do in any circumstances, or a child dying, and suddenly, an angel appears in the guise of a nurse that no one has ever seen and never sees again, okay, without a name tag, who comes in and gives the child something like a sucker, and the child miraculously heals the next day. So they can take physical manifestations and for short periods of time. Um, and this is, of course, one of the gifts that's been given to them. But working with them in a conscious way where we love them, we honor and respect them, and we invite them to become co companions and to assist us and help us. They have their own mandates, and their mandates are not to interfere with our free will. So this is why they work through invitation.
Let's talk about the warrior angels. You mentioned them briefly, but there's another kind of class of angels called warrior angels. Who are they and why are they here? What are they for?
Well, of course, the classic one that we all hear about is Michael. You know, those classic Raphael, healer, Michael, the warrior angel, Gabriel, the messenger angel, and Uriel, who's very much sort of a keeper of the laws. There are others like Zadkiel, for example, very much the opener of the ways, and Sandalphon, he's great, and Azrael, who was always known as the angel of death. This is a scary figure. This is a being of great light, like the Yamadutas and the Hindu tradition, or the Valkyries, let's say, in the Norse traditions that lift the souls of the warriors off the battlefield. But Michael's angels, in the lower worlds, and we are in the lower worlds of time and space, there is duality. There's the yin and the yang, the positive, the negative, the black and the white. Well, the yin and the yang, neither the yin or the yang is bad. They're like the two poles of a battery. They're necessary for there to be enough duality for us to have choice. If we ate only hot fudge sundaes all of our life, eventually, we get tired. So we have to have terrible food and wonderful food, terrible choices and wonderful choices in order to learn our lessons down here and to be able to find out what the effect is of our decisions. And that's the only way we learn. And sometimes we suffer, and that's how we learn our lessons the best. But with the warrior angels, they are the beings of light. They are, let us say, in the third and fourth and fifth dimension. As long as we're in the worlds of duality, there is like a movement of the tides between the light and the dark. Sometimes the light forces are winning, sometimes the dark forces are winning. For example, during the Middle Ages, in the Inquisition, in the name of the church and of beautiful Jesus, the dark forces were winning. Knowledge was stamped out, books were burned, wisdom keepers were murdered, healers were called witches and, hung. The dark was winning. Today, we kind of, there's this, again, a kind of a battle, if you will. There are amazing wisdom and knowledge coming forth into the world. There's incredible healing. There's finally a merger that's beginning between science and mysticism. There's a merger in some circles between traditional medicine and more holistic and naturopathic. There's many advances that we're making. But of course, if greed and power overtake us, then the AI technology doesn't serve us, it runs amok. Okay. And that's definitely something many people are concerned about. If our discoveries in chemistry run amok, then we have bioengineered diseases, or vaccines that are out of balance and make people sick. If our, if our technology doesn't our servant, if it becomes our master, then we forget our connection with spirit and we try to do everything in the material world. And the material world is important to work in harmony with. But let's just say, some of our ability to dig things out of the land. Well, after a while, we start stripping the minerals and we wind up burning down the forest. And then the lungs of the planet suffer. And so, it's this delicate balance between advancing. And if we forget the spiritual part of it, that we are connected to the earth, we're connected to the animals. It's not okay to torture the animals. It's not okay to torture one another. It's not okay for people who are black or white or polka dot to be persecuted. You know, we're all immortal souls who have come into the physical world. And the more we can recognize the divine spark within ourselves and live into it, and within the plants, within the animals, the more we will live in harmony, and the more the light will increase on the planet. And of course, I know that's all the work that you're doing, and many of the teachers and speakers that you support, and the people who are listening to these programs. You guys are the armies of light in the physical world. You're the ones that are turning the tide in the morphogenic field. And the more of us that can awaken, the more the masses, the momentum or the inertia will begin to awaken the whole world. So that instead of going down the wrong path and blowing ourselves up with nuclear weapons or whatever crazy thing the people that are still working in the shadows are doing, we have a chance to create a new earth, and an earth that can create more harmony both within and without. But we cannot do that if we forget the realm of spirit.
So you mentioned Michael and Gabriel and Sandalphon. You mentioned the archangelic realm, and one of the archangels that you said has been around you this week is Archangel Raphael, and Archangel Raphael is the archangel of healing. And you've also mentioned this world of duality and everything that we're working, to uplift, right? To heal thoughts, words, emotions, behaviors, all of it. I'd like to ask you to kind of close us out with an experience with Archangel Raphael, if you could.
It would be my pleasure. I have had a really special guest in my house this week. He's a friend, and he came in to do some healing, personal healing. And the very first session we did, Raphael showed up. And so Raphael's been here the whole week working with the healing work that we've been doing. And so it's an honor to bring him forth to others. He showed up in the session as quite tall. I mean, I would say he's looking about 10 feet tall. He's pretty large, to put it mildly. And of course, he wears this green, this beautiful sort of deeper green, not forest, not totally forest green, but it's gradated. It goes from green down to deep forest green. That's what he appears to be wearing. And he deals very much with the healing of the heart, because it always starts with the heart. The wounds that come to the heart spread out in imbalance and illness with the body. And so I would just like to ask everybody if you would like some healing in your life, whether it's physical healing, emotional healing, healing of relationship, a healing of family, a healing for a friend that is in distress. Just close your eyes for a minute. And we want to just put our hands on our heart and breathe in to our hearts. And as we breathe in that beautiful, rich, healing vibration of green. This is one of the dominant colors all over our planet, which is the plant kingdom, along with the blue oceans and the seas. But breathe in that green energy. And as you take 3 deep breaths, breathing it in each time, become aware inside of a pink heart inside your heart. This is almost like pink quartz, except it's, actually vibrant and it's pulsing. And this is the Divine Mother energy. And the Divine Mother, of course, this is Mary's energy, or Kuan Yin's. She's really lives in the heart of each one of us as a homing beacon. So we want to just call that in and fill ourselves up with it. And the more we can expand that green energy with that pink energy of unconditional love into our chest and feel it go through our entire bodies, feel it go down into our hips and into our torsos and run down our legs and fill up our arms with it and fill up our hands with it. And any part of the body that's in pain or in discomfort, make a special point of sending that green energy and that pink energy to that organ. And if you can do this in a meditation and do it for like 20 minutes, it gives them a chance. You can call in Raphael's legions, and they will come in and do a healing on your body. Now, you may see them sending white energy in to clear out the shadows of whatever emotion is stored in that organ. You may see them sending gold energy. You know, they work with many different vibrational palettes based on what you need. So even if you see them sending in gold energy, just allow whatever you intuitively pick up to happen. And once you found a way to just um, uh, finish that, pull white energy in through your crown chakra and bring it all the way down through your body, just seeing it push out any shadows going right out the bottom of your feet. So you want to close with the white energy. And again, you want to take some time to do this. I'm doing a very condensed version here. But when you finish with that white energy, then whoever it is that you want to send healing energy to, just ask these healing angels. You go back into your heart, your third eye, and ask them to send this energy from your heart with using the energy of spirit. It's your intention, but it is the divine's energy. It's not your personal energy that you're sending. That's very important. The divine knows better than us. Spirit knows better. We are simply those vessels of intention that can send it. So you can just see the white column coming down through your crown chakra into your heart, and then just send that out to whoever it is, wherever they are. If you feel like for some reason their personality might be in resistance, like addiction, send it to their higher self and let their higher self downray it to them. That's a really good way to do it. And at the same time you send it to the higher self, call their angels in. Ask their angels to assist in the healing because their angels also know where they are in the pattern of their life and whether or not it's time for them to receive a healing or what kind of healing or to what degree that healing needs to happen. And of course, you can ask Raphael's angels because he has legions, thousands of them, to assist in this process. And they can just send it. Space and time are not important in this kind of thing because really everything is resonant fields. We are a field of energy, so are the angels. And in fields of energy, time and space is collapsed. So you can do distance healing this way very easily. Now, be aware whenever you do healing with someone that sometimes it's a part of their karmic pattern to be sick because through their being sick, they may learn patience or love, or they may stop being a workaholic and take the time that they need to develop another part of themselves. So we always want to say, my will to thy will. You know, may the highest will and the highest good be done for this person. We may want them to heal right now, instantly, but it may take a journey for them, and that journey can be an evolutionary leap in their consciousness. So just send that out, and let's just say it's an area of the world that you want to send the energy to. Ask for the light to come down from that um, uh, from the highest levels, and for the angels to send the light down, and just see the light coming down. Let's say over this energy field of infinite light that has its own intelligence to come down, whether it's over a family situation, a relationship. And again, remember that you can work with the higher selves of these individuals. So send the energy to the higher selves to go into their mortal selves. Because as we know, down here in the realm of personality, we have a lot of feisty personalities. And sometimes those personalities have so many issues that they get lost in the forest or in the trees and can't see the big picture. But their higher self will help them to receive this energy for the highest good of all. So I know this is very quick, but it gives you a template for something you can work with. Take 20, 30 minutes to do it. and call in those angels to assist you with your intention.
Tricia, thank you. No, I think, and the nice part about this is people can play it back or, like you said, take it and do it as many times as they like. So thank you so much. So we've been talking with Tricia McCannon, the author of the Angels book, Personal Encounters with Divine Beings of Light. And it's been a quick conversation. Tricia barely scratched the surface with the wisdom that she shares in the book. And she mentioned the 9 orders of angels. They're in the book. She explains them in great detail. There's a beautiful angel meditation in the book. There's historic accounts of experiences, whole chapter of people throughout history, famous people that have had angelic encounters. So the angels are here, and they're here to help us, to support us, to love us. And as Tricia said, we only need to invite them, to call on them. So I encourage you to call on the angels. I encourage you to pick up a copy of Angels so you have a really beautiful guide for you. And Tricia McCannon, thank you so much for being with us here today.
It is such a pleasure always, and blessings to all of you. And when you make that connection with an angel, it can literally change your life. Thank you so much for having me, Ariel.